Well, we're having fun today. Okay, this is part 3 now. Maybe they just don't want this message out. I don't know. I mean, it is a contentious thing that the Jews lay claim to the Temple Mount. I didn't think it was going to be that contentious, but anyway, here we are. Thanks, Darlene, for hanging in there, man. I mean, if you're still with me now, you guys are you all deserve gold medals. You are the troopers if you're actually hanging in with me this long. So thank you so much. It's good to see you. And well, I don't give up easy, as you know. So they can, like the persistent widow, they can try, but I will continue to come back. So anyway, so I'm not sure. I think it got cut off. Al Magdisi or something. Anyway. Needless to say, don't exactly. I think it was here that it got cut off. I think I saw. So there you go. I think you know what that says. It says that this was the Dome of the Rock. So it's a writing from that time period that it says that this was the temple. This was the Jewish temple. Okay, keep going. Boy, this was supposed to be a short video. I was just going to do this real quick. So anyway, here's some original tiles from the temple at the time of Jesus. Kind of cool, or at least they are reconstructions of it. So I'm not sure how much of it is original or what have you, but it's kind of interesting to think that this is the designs from the time of Christ when he would have walked across those tiles. So that's kind of cool. So looking at this, here's an arrowhead that they found from the early days of the first temple. Okay, so this is from the first temple, this arrowhead here from the 10th century BC. And then you've got this coin here from the second year of the Great Revolt against the Romans, bearing the words "Freedom of Zion." Well, that's cool. Freedom! So they were shouting the freedom back there, on their coins. And then, and again, this is the third part of the video. If you didn't even see the first 2 parts, please go back and check those out. And be sure to like and subscribe and hit notification bells and all that good stuff. Silver coin with the legend, the half shekel. And Holy Jerusalem, first year of the Great Revolt against the Romans. Well, that's kind of cool. And this one I really like. This is an arrowhead that apparently was used by the Babylonian army at the time of the destruction of the first temple, guys. So this is when Nebuchadnezzar came in and destroyed that first temple and took everybody off, Daniel and everybody else off to Babylon. This spear was used in that battle. This arrowhead, and from a spear was used in that battle, or from an arrow, I guess. So that is pretty cool. And now look at this. This is how disrespectful they were to the site. Archaeologists were in an uproar because they just went in and just started digging up all the ground and treating it like garbage and just dumping it into a garbage field. And there was all these relics. That's where they got all these artifacts from. They didn't let the archaeologists go in there and do it properly. They just kind of dug it all up in a bunch of garbage trucks and dumped it. That's the kind of respect that they had for it now in comparison to how they had for it back then. And so there were 7,000 coins found. Wow. So a lot of stuff was found when they actually went through it. Some guy got permission to go in and get the garbage so they can go through it and actually find all these artifacts. They were minted on the Temple Mount itself by the temple authorities. Wow, that's interesting too. So that's kind of amazing. The stamp bears the inscription. The Imams are well-known family priests. So the priest, the chief governor of the house. So these are all different quotes from the coins and the stamps on the coins and so forth. The chief governor of the house of the Lord. That's cool. The seal was this seal was used to stamp luxury items that were kept in the treasury of the temple, which was administered to the priest. This stamp seal is the first Hebrew inscription that was ever discovered from the first temple and constitutes direct evidence of the administrative activity of the first temple priest. So everything I'm going over here is just more evidence that this belongs to the Jews, right? And that they have claim to the temple, and they have a history there. They have a history. Their temple and their society lived there, and these are all the artifacts that validate that. They're trying to erase now. And then you've got the mikvahs. There's even a mikvah under Al-Aqsa. Well, that's interesting. So the mikvahs is where they would baptize people, where they did the ceremonial washings, but that's where they would baptize people as well. So in the time of Jesus. So that's very interesting. Again, I'm like cruising through this, and there's just so much information, but I'm just trying to give you like some of the big points. It says here they precede the ancient Arab period. So the mikvahs also prove that there wasn't Arabs, because it precedes their ancient period. And that was in 1927. It looks like the mikvah under the Al-Aqsa. So these were everywhere, mikvahs, and they were built of stone. I mean, it's amazing. So that first picture I showed you, that is a bunch of mikvahs. Not this one. Is it this one? Oh, that's a mikvah. The one of the south wall. So all those things there are mikvahs. At least a good majority of them. I'm not totally sure that everything you see there is mikvah, but a lot of those are mikvahs because remember, 3,000 were baptized on that day. And you're thinking, 3,000? That sounds like a lot of people. Where are you going to get all the water? Well, they had all kinds of mikvahs here because people would ceremonially wash when they came to the temple. And you come in for these festivals, you got people there from all nations under heaven. Like the Ethiopian eunuch, for example. All these people, that's what they said when they were able to speak in different languages, and said, wow, each one hears them speaking in our own native language. Parthians, Medes, Elamites, residents of Cappadocia and Mesopotamia, residents from Libya and parts of near Cyrene, and all those areas. Well, they're all coming in for these festivals 3 times a year that they have to appear before the Lord in Jerusalem. So they had to have a lot of mikvahs filled with water to serve all those people. That's a lot of people. And so they would all walk up this pathway into the temple, and so they would wash ceremonially here in the mikvahs along the way so that they were clean when they went into the temple courts. So in any case, they found one under the Al-Aqsa Mosque, an ancient mikvah as well. I mean, it's so obvious, it's so obvious that this was all Jewish territory that they're trying to erase history and pretend that it isn't. So anyway, here's some more things. A relic of the Herodonian period. It says the decorated passageway of the Hulda gates through which pilgrims pass on their way to the temple located today in the ancient Al-Aqsa Mosque. So going down a little further here. Okay, so this one's kind of cool. This actually says, the inscription here says, House of the Tekiah, or the trumpet blast. Like house of the person who blew the trumpet. Who would blow the trumpets at all their... That's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the last trumpet to be sounded. And here's the house of Tekiah, of the trumpet blast. So that's kind of cool. And then, what does this one say? I like the inscription on this one. It says, and when you see this, your heart shall rejoice. Which is perfect, because you're finding an ancient writing. And you're like, oh, look, we found an ancient writing. So you're rejoicing. And then what it actually says is, when you see this, your heart will rejoice. So you're rejoicing. As you read, your heart will rejoice what you're reading. It's a chiasmus. It just keeps going. Okay, so check out this. I wanted to show you this picture of this mikvah. Okay, look at the size of this woman and look at the size of this. Now imagine the water being filled up like to the top stair, because that's how it would be. Kind of like when you go in a swimming pool and there's like stairs in the pool. So you see the size of that woman. Imagine how many people could fit just in that one mikvah. How many people could use that at one time? And that was a mikvah. It says, here pilgrims were purified on their way to the temple, a mikvah from the second temple days at the foot of the southern wall of the Temple Mount. So, I mean, that's huge. I mean, that one lady, I mean, you could probably easily fit, I mean, think about it, and all those stairs and everywhere. If you filled that whole thing, you could probably fit 100 people in there, I would guess, at one time. Now, granted, they're kind of going in and out. They're all going in, washing, and coming out, so it's kind of a cycle. But, if they fill that whole area in there, you could probably fit a good amount of people in there pretty easily, pretty comfortably. Definitely 50 people easily. But, somewhere between 50 to 100 people, I imagine you could fit in there relatively comfortably, especially because you're not going to be in there that long. You're kind of coming in, washing, and you're going out. So it's kind of this cycle of people. So to baptize 3,000 people is not so unreasonable if you've got a lot of those mikvahs hanging around that people can get baptized in. Kind of makes sense. And on it goes. Let me see if there's anything else here of particular interest to share with you guys. So I thought that was kind of cool. I just want to share with you kind of a different type of video, giving you some history and foundation for the Jews' claim to the temple. Jesus is going to come back and he's going to restore all things, but they're trying to rebuild the third temple right now. Oh, I was going to show you that too. Whoops. I was going to show you the third temple and what they're doing with that right now. So, they've been looking for the red heifers that they want to sacrifice. And let me see. What's this one? There's another mikvah. Just to give you an idea. So there were a lot of these mikvahs around, and you could fit a lot of people in those mikvahs. You saw the size of that woman in there. So you could fit a lot of people in there. Kind of reminds me of, there's a thing in Chicago. It's like kind of like a mikvah, actually. It spits out water from the mouth of these people. It's kind of a fun little thing. You take your family there, but you can fit tons of people in there, and it's just like a shallow water place. And so that's what they had back then too. Here's more mikvahs, ritual baths. Sometimes they had smaller, excuse me, more personal size ones. I'd like a personal mikvah if that's okay. But the mass mikvahs were there. And let's just take a look here at, there's that south wall again. So there's all your mikvahs, right? So there's, when the 3,000 were baptized, is good. I would say probably majority of them were baptized right there, right where you're looking, right there. It's probably where they were baptized. It was in the temple courts that Peter stood up and addressed everybody, right? And there are people there from all over, all different places. So the third temple is something they're trying to do right now to rebuild the third temple in Jerusalem to succeed Solomon's temple. And there was something here I thought was kind of interesting. When will it be rebuilt? The third temple. Let's see. The Arabs help rebuild the Jerusalem temple. This is in August. They wrote this. I thought that kind of stood out to me. Will Arabs help rebuild the Jerusalem temple like they did the first time, like the Dome of the Rock? Is it going to be a chiasmus kind of thing where, hey, we built this temple, this Dome of the Rock for you, like a replacement temple, and we're going to help you do that as well. It says the 9th day of the Hebrew month of Av, Tisha B'Av. There it is again. August 7th this year, and the same day as the Shia Muslim day of mourning. Oh, that's interesting. So they both have a day of mourning on the same day, the 10th of Muharram. That's interesting. Sadly commemorates the destruction of the 2 Jerusalem temples and the exile of large parts of the Jewish people from the land of Israel. So are they saying both of these days commemorate that? So even the Jews are mourning that? See, I'm telling you, they used to have they used to be buddies. They used to be pals. They used to hang out together and shoot pool and stuff, They were hanging out in each other's backyards, and having a few, a few. What do I want to say? Some of Herod's, golden chalices. They would chime together back in the day. But in any case, it's a day of national reckoning, collective of our sins. More than 7 decades of political national leaders. So, but ever since they've been like the Jeds and the Clampets, like, hey, this is our land. No, this is our land. Get off my land. Islam has legalized lying in this regard. They've legalized lying. Well, that's not surprising. To make people unite and prevent division, the Prophet said, I do not regard it as a lie when a person tries to reconcile between people by saying something not intending what was understood. Or between people at times of war, or husband and wife in order to please their spouse. Oh, man. Honey, how do I look? Okay, so this is funny stuff. Anyway, so maybe that's a possibility that they're going to work together. But can't we just be friends? Laying the groundwork for the third temple in Jerusalem. So there's a lot of this groundwork of the third temple happening. There's a place called the Temple Institute that's trying to do that. I'm trying to see if there's something here. Let me look at, in the news. Yeah, there was some stuff in the news. Let's see what the news says. What kind of Temple Mount access do Israelis want? This is 4 days ago. This was just 4 days ago. So this is brewing, guys. Where is this all heading, and what would we like to see happen on the Temple Mount? See, everybody's getting stoked. Jerusalem Day celebrates the Western Wall. If the White House told the Israeli government it would be delighted to see Israel take full control of the Temple Mount, what would we do next? Well, the current House of White is not going to say that. 4 years ago, maybe. But they're not going to say that. They don't like you, okay, because they don't like anybody. They are the devil. Talking about the current leaders of the House of White here in U.S. of A. and throughout the Western nations. The issue of the Temple Mount becoming a geopolitical flashpoint between Israel and its neighbors has robbed us of the opportunity of speaking about it religiously and historically. The increasing number of Israelis supporting a Jewish presence on Temple Mount and the growing number of Jews ascending to Temple Mount, most famously the recent visit by conservative political commentator Ben Shapiro. You're going to count him as that's supposed to be something? I guess he's a name. So if he goes on there, I guess people are going to be blown away by that. Demand that we ask ourselves, where is this all heading and what would we like to see happen in the Temple Mount? If the House of White, Saudi Crown Prince bin Salman, Jordan's Abdullah, China's Xi Jinping, and the Secretary General of the UN all called and told the Israeli government that they would be delighted to see Israel take full control of the Temple Mount, which we know they're not going to say. And they've already said that they should divide up Israel. So they're not pro-Israel, guys. Unfortunately, they were at one time, but not these days. Deferring Jewish views on the matter. To answer this, we must note the different positions among the Jewish people on the matter. On the other side of the spectrum, there's a fringe group of religious Jews who have been anticipating such a moment that would like to engage in complete reconstruction of the temple, build the third temple, and bring daily sacrifices and offerings so that the offerings of Judah and Jerusalem shall be pleasing to God as in the days and years of old. Malachi 3. In fact, in 1962, 5 years before the Six-Day War, the chief rabbi Shlomo Goren published an article saying that if Israel were to take over Jerusalem, we would be obliged to rebuild the Beit HaMikdash. These two sides of the spectrum are irreconcilable. Those who believe in fencing the area off until the Messiah arrives are not neutral on the matter. It is their belief, and they are the majority. To them, building the temple and offering sacrifices or even going up there today is a far worse problem than the current status quo. All right, it is therefore not hard to imagine why Moshe Dayan thought handling over the Temple Mount to the Jordanian Waqf would spare him conflict he did not need. As polls show, a whopping 63% of Israelis support the right of Jews to ascend the Temple Mount. So this is 4 days ago this was published. So this is what's happening now. They want to get back in the Temple Mount. They want to start rebuilding. And as soon as we're out of the way and everything goes down, Mr. Ante of the Christ is probably going to come in and help them make that happen. Al-Aqsa Palestinians decry unprecedented settler storming. 15 hours ago. Man, it's hot. It's hot, baby. Al-Aqsa Palestinians decry unprecedented settler storming through Asbat Gate. Whoa, that is a lot of people. Palestinians pray on the first day of Muslim day of Eid al-Adha in Al-Aqsa Mosque. See, they call the whole place, the whole Temple Mount, Al-Aqsa Mosque. It's kind of like King of the Mountain. Remember the game when you're a kid, King of the Mountain? Like, no, I'm King of the Mountain. They knock the other guy off. No, I'm King of the Mountain. And you knock the other kid off. It's kind of the same principle, They're just claiming it, sitting squatters' rights. In first, Israeli ultra-nationalists entered the Jerusalem site through unassigned gate, drawing the ire of Palestinians. So normally they could only go up that little bridge area that you see. There was only one entrance that Jews could enter through. And recently, they've gone in through the Asbat Gate. Asbat. And that's one of the Muslim gates that they've been going through, that they allowed them to go through. And they normally wouldn't let them go through that. So they're breaking the status quo, as they say. Let's look a little closer at this. Palestinians have condemned the entry of Israelis into Al-Aqsa Mosque during a storming by ultra-nationalists through Bab al-Asbat, the Lion's Gate. Ooh, that's perfect. The Lion's Gate of all gates. As a dangerous precedent. The incident, which happened on 28th of August, was the first time settlers entered the courtyards of the mosque from the gate located in the northeastern section of the complex since Israel occupied East Jerusalem in 1967. Wow, guys, this is huge. Since 1967, oh man, how many years is that? That's like 45 years, somewhere there. That's interesting. Israeli ultra-nationalists protected by heavily armed police raid Al-Aqsa Mosque in occupied East Jerusalem on a daily basis. Daily basis? Wow, look at this. Israeli raids and incursions explain. Middle East Eye looks at the history of Israeli incursions, how Palestinians... There's that guy again. This guy, he's one of the leaders, man. This Yehuda Glick, his name is. Rabbi Yehuda Glick. Israel said his former lawmaker Yehuda Glick during a raid on Al-Aqsa. He's one of the Temple Institute guys. And he's one of the guys who's always going up there and blowing his trumpet. I've seen him in a lot of videos. Israelis about shout at Palestinian worshippers at Al-Aqsa Mosque. That is interesting. Ooh, this is kind of a cool map. Dome of the Rock, stopping point, oblique rock, the chain gate, the western wall, the Moroccan gate. Huh. That's interesting. Okay. Well, that's kind of cool. So it's happening. Number of Israeli incursions on Al-Aqsa Mosque. Whoa, 30,000 in 2019. So it just keeps going up and up and up. They's about to take over, baby. They's about to take it back. Oh boy. This is huge. They enter through the southwestern Moroccan gate, the only gate out of the mosque's 15 entry points under the full control of Israeli authorities, which no Palestinians can access. So that's the Moroccan gate that we saw here that they're going through. That also known as the Lion's Gate. Right. And this is the western wall where they mourn in between. I think that's where they've been entering. That's the one where they've been entering. They go up that ramp there. But it sounds like they're getting in through another gate now. Temple groups applaud. The incident happened after Israeli police removed a group of ultra-nationalists from the courtyards. Later, members of the group objected. The incident was filmed and shared by members of the temple, was referred to as temple groups. Interesting. Oh, here's the route of Israeli incursions. Okay. The Lion's Gate. Oh, so there's the Lion's Gate over there in the corner, in the back corner there, the Bab al-Asbat. So they've been coming in that way instead. Unprecedented violations. Why Bab al-Asbat is a joint name for two gates separated by a distance of 50 meters, one of which is the gate for Jerusalem's old city wall on the eastern side. Historically, they're separated by the square. The gate, with its two doors, holds strategic importance for both Palestinians and Israelis, has long been a major flashpoint in the city, is one of the main entrances. I think the Lion's Gate is the one for the Via Dolorosa where Jesus walked through with the cross. And it might be the one, I think, that it's either that or the Eastern Gate that he came in for Palm Sunday when he comes in. Some debate on which one of those he went through. The rate is a continuation of historical policy. So there you go, guys. Exciting things happening. So just kind of want to give you that history of the Temple Mount, kind of a different type of video. But it all connects to what's happening in the world and rapture ultimately for us and so forth. I'm going to come back, believe it or not, and I'm going to try to do another video if they let me do it. We finished this one, right? You're still there, right? Woohoo! All right. I'm going to come back and do another quick video about the harvest. The harvest! And then that will probably be it for today on this happy Labor Day. So love you guys, and I'll be back in a few. Talk to you soon. Maranatha.